Tēnā koutou katoa. Kia ora and welcome to another Manawanui live stream. My name is Simon and today I am joined alongside Bayley. Bayley has
Hey
a
guys.
long history of Olympic powerlifting, competing in Olympic powerlifting. He is a trained personal trainer and in recent years has got stuck into providing a experience for disabled people to get involved with physical exercise, training and developing a better physical ability through supported training. We've got a lot of time today to get into some of the detail around how that looks for disabled people. But first up, I would like to give Bayley an opportunity to introduce himself and say hello to you all. Good afternoon, Bayley.
Good afternoon, Simon. Hey guys, Bayley speaking. First of all, thank you so much for coming along and taking the time to jump on the live stream and come over listen to me. But yeah, so my name's Bayley. I'm 25 years old and I live in Auckland. I work out of AT Millennium Gym as I'm a self-employed personal trainer. Um, and yeah, my background kind of in the industry, as Simon said, is from the age of 13 to 20 years old. I competed and trained and competed in Olympic weightlifting. Um, and through those years, that's what kind of developed my passion for training. And I just love it. I can't imagine my life without a gym. Um, and through Olympic weightlifting, I met so many people. My coach, Mike Schofield, um, he was a big person in my life. He was the first person outside of my family who learned to kind of work with me after we got my dyslexia diagnosis and put up with all my, highs and lows. If anyone here has dyslexia or knows anyone who has dyslexia, you'll realize the highs and lows that come with learning things just because it takes so much longer. And Mike was great for those 7 years. He just worked with me in the way that no one else could, and because of him, that's why I became a personal trainer and why I guess I've kind of tried to put myself out there, share my experiences, and I'm very fortunate to now train people who have dyspraxia like I do, or ADHD, or autism. You know, kind of that whole big neurodiverse, um, tree. Um, and yeah, that's kind of a quick intro on me.
Simon speaking. Awesome, Bayley. So if you don't mind, let's start with that diagnosis. So how old were you? How did that come about? And what was life like before and then immediately after that diagnosis?
Yeah, so Bailey speaking, guys. So I got diagnosed with dyspraxia when I was 13. And how this came about was in year 8, my art teacher noticed that the patterns of my drawing was terrible anyway. Um, but the patterning she noticed was off, which of course led to having bad drawing. And then in a parent teacher interview, she pretty much just said to my parents, hey, I think Bailey needs to go get tested um, for learning conditions. And we always knew, or my parents always knew through primary school, I was late. Like I was always in the bottom classes. I was always terrible at doing anything that required coordination, catching, throwing, any team sports. I was just awful at. And so it kind of started to make sense. So we got tested, and that's how I found out I had dyspraxia. And when we got that diagnosis, I think especially more for my parents because I was too young at that time. For them, it just started to make sense, and it gave them a sense of a bit of relief, maybe like, oh, we haven't failed or we haven't done something wrong as parents. There's a reason why all this is happening, and it gave them a sense of relief, and it gave me a bit of confidence to now I can kind of start telling people and tell teachers like, hey, here's what I have. I'm not just not listening or I'm not paying attention. This is just how I need to. This is how or what works for me. And my parents and my grandparents helped me a lot when I was younger, um, trying to teach me how to read and write. So it kind of gave them some guidance as well. My parents could go to teachers and parenting interviews and yeah, say what they can do to best work with me. Yeah.
Simon speaking. Awesome. So you get the diagnosis. What led you into the sport of Olympic powerlifting at such a young age?
So, Bayley speaking, when I was 11, I was playing golf. I didn't play well, but I enjoyed it. I did some competitions and I was a part of like a big club. And before a competition, you could sign up for an 8 week like strength and conditioning gym program. And Mike Schofield was the trainer who was there. And like when I was 11, I couldn't do a push up, I couldn't do a lunge, I couldn't do a squat, I could do nothing. And I really fell in love with just throughout those 8 weeks, the gym. Um, and I could feel some progress, see some progress. I could actually do a push up, I could kind of coordinate a lunge. Um, and so after that 8 weeks was up, my parents asked Mike if he would be my PT. And so for 2 years, from 11 to 13, he just trained me in the gym in Takapuna that he worked at. And I fell in love with lifting weights and working with him. And like a highlight he used to talk about was when I was 12, I deadlifted 100 kilos. Now, a year's difference from not doing a push up to 100 kilos, picking 100 kilos up off the floor. That was kind of the first time that I felt a sense of like confidence and achievement. And the gym and Mike at the time became my safe space. And then he was switching tunes into Olympic weightlifting and trying to coach that because he was an Olympic weightlifter himself. And so he said, "Hey, do you want to come give it a shot?" And 82 Millennium, where I work, the gym, the high performance sport New Zealand area is where we used to train our weightlifting club. And so I came down, tried it, and the rest was history. I fell in love.
Simon speaking. Awesome. So I mean, it's an important moment to highlight around, like you said, that first feeling of accomplishment and
Mm.
improvement and success. Like if you could think back to a young Bayley, like what does that do for somebody who, like you've said, you struggled through high school and schooling and team sports? What does it do for someone to find an area where you can feel that you actually excel at, or you had some success?
I think it makes every situation in life a lot easier to handle. Um, Anyone with neurodiverse parents, if you've got kids or family members at neurodiversity, you can see the struggle, day to day struggle that is apparent. So, to know maybe throughout a school day, if I've had a bad school day, know that I'm going to go to the gym later. It gets me through. It would get me through my day, or um, I mean, teenage years, you've got bullies, you've got there's that whole social dilemma. With that comes tricky situations you face. But just knowing I had the gym and I had Mike and my weightlifting club and team to come to at the end of the day, it was just a relief. And my schoolwork improved from that. And I think that's a thing that is not talked about enough. And that's kind of also what I want to talk about today. And what I try to talk about more is at school, we're not taught about the benefits of physical activity. And we're not taught about how being physically active will actually correlate back to schoolwork. So yeah, my whole life improved. My confidence, my schoolwork, um, my adversity, like my adversity scales improved. I could just handle a lot more. I wasn't so frustrated. Just everything improves. Like everything improves. I can't advocate enough for fitness or training or strength training. Yeah.
Simon speaking. Yeah, well, I mean, let's talk about it, right? So, uh, my high school experience absolutely was the case where you have your PE class, right, physical education, or you have, some of the kids play sport at lunch, but it's the same people that enjoy both. It's those who are natural athletes. They play a lot of team sports. They have a lot of friends, and they all, play sport together and they succeed. But it's the rest of the class that think it's the worst part of their day to go into PE and they then suffer because they don't enjoy that class, they don't get any of that physical exercise, and like you said, it impacts the rest of their school. So I mean, let's talk about it like in detail. Explain to us to those who may not understand, what is the wide range of benefits for a student at school or a young person when it comes to having a part of physical activity in their daily lives.
So the first point of call to look at is I'll talk about it in a dyspraxia and with someone who's got a dyspraxia diagnosis because that's my personal experience, but it relates to anything if um, any neurological disorder. The first thing is strength training will improve your muscle mass. Now we know with improved muscle mass, you're going to look better. You've got more confidence, right? Just if you feel like you look better, you've got more confidence. The neural pathways in your body. So by doing repeated structured exercise, you are developing neurological pathways. You're developing muscle memory. Now it's not easy by all means at the start. Like it isn't, and it's going to be tough, and there's ups and downs. But not like making sure you're not putting focus on one session and making a broader spectrum is is the key area to focus. So you've got neurological pathways, you've got confidence, you've got. Just trying to think what else. I think also it's that emotional regulation. You know, when we exercise, everyone knows we're getting a release of endorphins, right? So if you've got pent up, if someone at school's got say ADHD with pent up energy, they're holding all this energy in and they find it hard to focus. Where in school is there somewhere to release it? There's no other way besides physical activity. So that emotional regulation, that ability to just release all stress or some amount of frustration and get that dopamine hit, get that natural dopamine hit, is like one of, if not the most important things. Take away anything neurological, take away anything muscle memory, muscle definition, size, strength, balance. It's for a teenager or someone at school, it's got to be about emotional regulation because that's how we get through school. And especially growing up, like, the common misconception with, I'll talk about strength training is, oh, strength training is going to stunt your growth or it's going to hurt you or it's going to, but actually what happens when anyone hits puberty is your muscles lengthen, your joints lengthen, your bones become weaker because you're growing taller. So what happens when we strength train? Well, those all become stronger. So, and you'll see it with boys more so, especially when boys are going through puberty, they don't know where their body is. They just have got no proprioception of where they're moving. So to have that time of structured exercise, it can be at school, it can be not with weights, or it can be in the gym with weights, but to have that time to release energy and focus in on your body is something that we just don't do enough. And at school, it's hard because, if some teachers on here, you've only got a certain amount of time, but can we start allocating some time to that? And I think you'll see a, a much more, a bigger improvement in schoolwork and academics.
Simon speaking, awesome. Yeah, I completely agree. So let's jump back into your life and let's focus on you've left school now and you've been competing in Olympic weightlifting. How did you fall into the profession of personal training? Talk us through that journey.
So, Bayley speaking, after school, I knew I wanted to be a personal trainer. So I went to AUT University here in Auckland and studied. So I got my bachelor's degree in sport and recreation, majoring in sport and exercise science. So I said I did a 3-year degree. And in our last our last year of our degree, we had to do a year-long placement. And because at the time I was already training and at AET Millennium, I pretty much came up to the gym and I was like, hey, can I do you guys take any placement students? And one of the personal trainers who's still at our gym Thomas Henderson, he's like, yep, I take students on. You can come shadow me training people and help them with his group classes. And so for a year, that's what I did. Um, and after that year came up, essentially I said to our gym manager at the time, I said, hey, my placement's coming to an end. Um, and she goes, okay, we need some personal trainers. Do you want to come on board? And I was like, yeah, like, cool, of course. And she goes, great, here's your contract. You start tomorrow. And I think I was one of the only, very few out of our cohort to get a job straight away, which I was very lucky and was in a great position. And yeah, so the day I finished uni, the next day I came into the gym and was running my own business and learning and trying to get clients and trying to find my way. And that's how that's how I started as a personal trainer. And now I've been doing it for 5 years. In October would be my 5th year here. Yeah, that's how I started.
Simon speaking, awesome. And so, did your diagnosis of dyspraxia have any sort of impact or added any barriers to your education journey, like your studies at university? Was it any extra difficulty there?
With university, it wasn't because the nature of our degree was very physical, and I thrived. I'm a visual learner and a doer, so because I also loved what I was learning, it helped a lot. Um, I guess in a university sense, what I found was lecture styles or in a lecture hall. What the lectures there to do is just give you as much information as the time that's given. So it could be an hour or 2 hour lecture. So what I found really helpful, because I couldn't keep up with it, I couldn't write at the same time that they were talking. So they would post the lecture notes ahead of time, maybe a week. So I'd go and write all the notes that were on the lectures. So it meant that coming into the lecture, I could focus on what they were saying. And I mean, my mum especially had to always look over my reports and emails and anything written because with dyspraxia, everything just got jumbled up. So what I wanted to say in my head never came out right on paper or on computer. So that was probably the main struggle in the university sense was I had to get everything done early so then that my parents could have the time to edit it or look at it. At school, it was a lot worse, but I think with university, I found what I loved and I had a passion for it, and I was willing to work through it.
Simon speaking, awesome. Yeah, no, congratulations on obtaining that degree and setting yourself up as a professional trainer. Um, so let's talk about some of your work you're doing now. You mentioned early on that you've actually been lucky enough to have clients come on board with the same diagnosis, and talk to me what it's like being in that role that your mentor was to you all those years ago, being able to pass that knowledge on and see that change. Like, how does that make you feel and what is that like?
Yeah, so base speaking, so it's really cool, and it makes me love what I do even more. To especially with dyspraxia and what I've got, it's more in males. Like you don't see many females with it. I don't know why. It is what it is. But to see the literal growth of some of these boys, and they go from 13 to 17. I've had one. He's he was 15 and now he's 20. So to have a little snippet of that part of their life is something that I kind of just can't describe. It goes beyond, I guess, what we on paper what our job is as a personal trainer. Um, and I always hope that I've kind of made somewhat of an improvement in someone's life, like my mentor did for me. But I just love seeing the growth and seeing the the confidence or just having the talks with them because it reminds me of what I was like when I was younger. Um, yeah, it's just really cool.
Mm.
It's really cool. It's you can't you can't beat that feeling you get, um, and that's what. And it's the same with if I've got people now who I train with autism, um, and just even having the like those conversations are just great. They're such different conversations, and I learn so much from them while they may learn stuff from me. So it's this great relationship, and we'll message on what the kids use Snapchat these days. So we'll be messaging on Snapchat, or like one of my boys who I trained when he was 15, and now he's 18. I've taken him out to town, like on his clubbing experience, and just it's just really cool. You become mates with them, and when that age gap closes.
Simon speaking. That is just awesome. And so you mentioned, that Mike took you from a young kid that couldn't even push up off the ground to somebody who could pull 100 kgs with a deadlift. Do you have any some of these similar stories for some of your clients? Like, what are some of those transformations you can see in the numbers?
I think a lot of it, to be honest, hasn't been numbers. A lot of it, a lot of teenagers I've trained have come in for sport specific things. So outside of chasing a higher number in a weight. So I've more seen it in like I guess to put it, I've had a water polo player. He doesn't play now, but when he did, he couldn't bench the bar, and then now he benches 110 kilos. You know, um, so I haven't had anyone who I guess was like me when I was younger who was chasing the higher numbers. We were chasing sports performance. So it's been a little bit different, but there's these two autistic girls who I train and they're best friends. And I guess when I started with them last year, just picking up the bar and their whole movement pattern was just out of whack, like just naturally with the diagnosis and not having experience with the deadlift. And now they're deadlifting 70 kilos, both of them, with some pretty good technique. And while it doesn't look like a big increase on paper or in the general census, when you see what they started as and what they are now in their technique and movement is is huge. Is huge. So never been about the number itself. It's been more about the process of getting there. But if there is someone that goes, hey, I want to get from 100 kilo bench press to a 200 kilo bench press, I'm going to be like, hey, let's get into it, let's charge. But it hasn't been about that so far.
Simon speaking, awesome. I do wonder, because when we posted earlier today announcing that you were joining our live stream, we did get a comment from one of your happy customers. Julia said, "This isn't a
Yeah,
question for Bayley, but a huge endorsement of him. Bayley has been working with my daughter and he is absolutely phenomenal. His ability to connect with her, challenge her, and build her confidence is truly something special." So that is a ringing endorsement of the sort of care and support and outcomes that you can generate for your clients. So I mean, without prompting it, it's pretty awesome to get that sort of feedback.
they're too good. I've got to remember I owe Olivia $20 cash for two drawings she's made for me this week. Olivia's got a business, guy, so if he wants the drawings, go to the Facebook page, let Julia know, and it's 10 for one or 20 for two, and there's no negotiation. So there you go.
So I'm speaking awesome. I will have to get Julia to put a plug in for the Facebook
Yeah,
page.
definitely,
Um,
definitely.
but let's talk about your services, right? So how do people get in touch with you if they've been listening to this conversation and think that'd be perfect for themselves or for their child, to get some of those positive benefits from you? What's the process?
Yeah, so I've sent a link to Simon, and they'll post this a link to my website where you can read a little bit more about me, about some of the work I've done with other clients, and you can contact me through there. Otherwise, Simon again will post. You can contact me directly through my email. Um, Otherwise, I've just started posting on Instagram, um, and Simon will link that as well. So if you want to give my Instagram account a follow, and on that Instagram, I delve, I post videos and sort of like following my life and my training, but also talking about more of the science, the research um, of why strength training and the gym is why I think some of the best ways to work um, to help families or anyone with neurodiversity. So I'm really trying to grow that social page as well to try broaden my message out there as much as I can. So if you'd like to give that a follow, that'd be really cool. You'll see a video tomorrow, so give it a follow. Selfish plug, but yes, either follow the Instagram, get in contact with me through my email or my website as well, or even just put a comment on the live stream. I'll have a look at them as well. But those are the three best ways to keep in touch with me and to get in contact.
Simon speaking. Awesome. So you're obviously based in the North Shore of Auckland, and do you only work out of the AUT Millennium Gym there, or are you able to travel? Like, what is your area that you're willing to work within?
I no, I travel. Probably like my time is in regards to traveling is quite limited. So I mean I travel out south, so like out South Auckland. So I can go out that way. I don't in terms of in gym stuff, I solely work out of 18 Millennium, so on the North Shore. But if people have home gym setups, then I do go over there. Um, I've hired like a dance studio space in Grey Lynn where I train for boys between ages 9 and 10, who on a Friday afternoon, I go to this dance space and they have dumbbells and Swiss boards and all that, and I train them. So that is a weekly thing that I do throughout the school term. So if you wanted to maybe inquire about that, and you've got a boy who's 9 to 11, then that's something that I do out in Grey Lynn. But yes, either at 18 Millennium, that's where all the gym work's done, and they've got to be we've got to have kids who are 13 or over. So that's the age limit that I can train in the gym. But going out to people's houses or anything, there's no age restriction.
Simon speaking. Awesome. Thank you. Hey, look, we've come up to the end of the conversation, so we'll wrap things up. But I've enjoyed this very much, so I just want to say a massive thank you for giving us your time, and an encouragement to anybody who's watching this now or will watch it back to please get in touch if you think you will benefit from some time with Bayley. What sort of words of encouragement or final sign off would you have for people who have sort of on the fence, have thought about the idea of some physical training or personal training and just haven't quite made that decision to take action? What words of encouragement do you have?
Yeah, play this weekend. My final words of encouragement would be just go, just do it. And I can't, it's not going to be easy. And there's going to be some hard times. Like if you're training by yourself or looking to start training by yourself, there's going to be times where maybe you don't know what you're doing. And you might feel a bit frustrated and all of that. And I've been through that. Like, just because I'm a PT and this is what I do professionally and everything, it's a time process. So don't take one single failure as you failed or mucked up everywhere else. So just get amongst it, get into it, and know that you're going to fail, but you will also have your successes. And if you stick at it long enough, there's just no way that you can't get better. Like it's impossible. And yeah, like who cares what other people think? Like you come into a gym, especially in the gym, I've had it so many times where people go, "Oh, people are going to look at me at the gym." No one cares. No one cares. I see it every day. I've seen some people do some wacky things, and I can say to them, "Hey, I'm a PT. Can I kind of help you or change it?" But no one else looks. I'm the only one that's looking because I know what's happening. So no one's going to look. No one's going to care. So just do what's right for you. Do what's best for you, and just go hard, like just get amongst it. And of course, for the trainer, like someone like myself, it becomes a lot easier because we help you throughout the process, and that's what I'm here to do, and that's what I love to do, and dedicate. I'm at this gym 12, 13, sometimes hours a day, because I love it. And outside the gym, I'm in contact with people, and it's because I love it. So if you want to find someone, just find someone that you really love to work with or you think is good. But if you're doing it by yourself, take the time to learn, watch, and just know that if you keep it out long enough, you can't muck it up. That's my final words.
Simon speaking. Awesome. Thank you, Bayley. I mean, your story and your successes are truly your own, and from the people that have supported you along your journey. And it is very clear that you love what you do. You're passionate about physical education, especially for those with similar conditions to yourself. And I commend you on all of the positive impact you've had on all of your clients so far and for yourself as well. So yeah, if anybody's out there watching, please do get in touch with Bayley. He seems to be a wealth of knowledge and support. But that is it for today's live stream. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all again same time. Oh, sorry, no, I won't see you next week because I am taking some leave. So there'll be a week off, and then I'll see you in 2 weeks' time, same time, same place. Ka kite.